Oops. Om Shanti. Welcome everyone
Om Shanti.
to Midday Meditation. Each week I take up a different theme, a theme that's worth looking at from different perspectives. And the theme that I'd look at this week is the relationship between the soul and the body. In Raja Yoga, we say that I am a soul. I'm not this body, I'm a soul. I'm in the body. But in order to really experience myself as a soul, I have to have a proper relationship with the body. If I don't know what my relationship with the body is, then by default, I will think of myself as the body. So this is the topic that we'll look at from a few different angles this week. What is the relationship between the soul and the body? And the way that I'd like to look at this relationship today is we can think of the body as the home of the soul. And just as you live in big homes, it might not seem big if you're in Chicago, but relative to the size of the body, the home is quite big. It has different rooms in it. It has different things in each room. And it's because even though the body is relatively small, it has a variety of needs. And so all of these different needs have to be met in the home. So the home has to be big. So in the same way, even though the soul is minuscule, it's so tiny you can't see it. It's not made of matter. But the body is very big. And the tiny soul lives in the big body, and the body performs a variety of functions. Some of the functions are for the livelihood of the body. For example, the digestive system is so that the body can stay healthy. But some of the functions of the body are so that the soul can fully experience itself in life. So, for example, we have sense organs so that we can perceive the world around us. And we have arms and legs so that we can perform actions in the world and we can create. So very complex, the body. And the soul is rightfully the resident, and the body is the home. And it's not, the body isn't the only home of the soul. This is another feature of homes. Most people do not live in the exact same home their entire lives. If they do, the home is going to require a lot of renovation. And by the time the life is over, it probably wouldn't even be recognized as the original home. Different times in our life, we need different homes. And it's the same with the home of the soul. Right now, we're in this home, but it's not the only home of the soul. The soul could have multiple homes, one after another, and therefore multiple lives, one after another. That's a possibility. But also, unlike the body, the soul is eternal. And so the soul also has an eternal home, which is not part of the material world. And sometimes you might rent a space to live, and you know you're not going to be in that space forever. But you need it for the time being, for a short period of time. And if we look at the eternal life of the soul, the body is a home. It's a temporary home, and it will be a good home for a certain amount of time. But at some point, the body will deteriorate just as a physical house deteriorates. And the soul will have to leave and find a new home or be placed in a new home. But eventually, the soul goes back to the eternal home, which has nothing to do with the dimension of matter. the eternal home is outside of this physical world. And the eternal home would have to be a place that's eternally the same. So there couldn't be any objects there because objects deteriorate over time. So the eternal home is a dimension of light and silence and bliss with no objects. We could say light because light is a very refined form of energy. And it's a place where souls can be comfortably when they're not in bodies. And sometimes the journey of the soul on earth could be a long journey. It could possibly be just one lifetime, but it could also be many lifetimes. So it's a long time to be away from our original home. And so in meditation, we can, through the power of thought, we can visit that home. And we can recognize that there's an eternal home of the soul. And there's also this temporary home. And so my relationship right now with this home, just as you keep the space that you live in clean and attractive and orderly and convenient, and you make sure you have the things that you need, and anything that you don't need, you get rid of. We want to have that kind of a caretaker relationship with the home of the body. The body has eyes, which are like windows, and the body has ears, which are like speakers, and the body has feet, which are like vehicles. So we want to take good care of the body, not because we glorify the body or we think that we're the body, but because we want the body to serve us well. So this relationship of the body is my home. I'm living here. I take good care of it, but I'm not the home. I'm the tenant. I'm the resident. I'm the master, actually. In Raja Yoga means master. I'm the master of this body that I inhabit. And when things go wrong with the body, just like when something goes wrong with your car, you take care of it. You get it fixed. If you can see that trouble is coming, you take your car in to get it serviced before the trouble happens. That's the best time, before something breaks down. And so the same with the body. We take good care of the body. We feed it properly. We give it water. We give it exercise. We give it proper sleep. We don't abuse the body. And on the other hand, we also don't indulge the body, because the body is my home. That's all. And we understand that at some point we will leave this home and we will have another home. So we don't have any attachment to it. We enjoy it as long as we can, and we leave it when it's time. So today we will practice together experiencing the self or the soul as the one who is living in this body. The body is my home. And we will also, with the power of thought, visit the eternal home of the soul. To begin with, take a few deep, full breaths, slow breaths. And watch the air enter and leave the lungs. This is a basic function of the body, is breathing. And just like you don't have to know how the furnace in your home works, you don't have to know how the air conditioning works, you don't have to know how the refrigerator works. We don't need to understand the mechanism that makes us breathe, but we can appreciate that there's this wonderful mechanism in the body that constantly brings air in and out. We can appreciate. As long as everything is working well, we don't have to understand all the dynamics. But when we appreciate the body, we, the residents, are filling the body with very positive energy. It's like cleaning the house. And this positive energy helps the body to function at its best. I, the soul, am watching the body breathe and appreciating that the body breathes so well. There are many functions taking place in the body right now, which we're not aware of. Just as in the home, you probably have an internet and you have electricity and maybe you have gas. A lot of things going on. We don't need to understand them all, but we can appreciate that we have homes with so many conveniences. Inside this body, there's a digestive system and a hormone system, and there's a skeleton and muscles, and blood is circulating everything that all these different parts of the body need. We know that this is happening, even though we don't necessarily understand it. And we appreciate the body. We appreciate that we've been given a good, solid home. When you're in your home, you can relax and enjoy peace and comfort. And the same is true in the home of the body. The soul can sit quietly, just like you sit quietly when you finish your work at night. The soul is now sitting in the home of the body quietly and going into a state of peace. Peace is the natural state of a soul. And so when the soul doesn't have to do anything through the body, and the soul doesn't have to think and plan and review and decide, the soul doesn't have to do anything within its own organs, then the soul can relax. It's important for the body to be home and relax regularly. And it's also important for the soul to sit in the home and be peaceful. And to be peaceful means to bring the awareness within into this little being of light that we are behind the forehead. Bring our attention there and understand that there is a soul who lives there, and that the nature of the soul is to be peaceful. When I stop thinking and planning and looking around, I come into that natural state of peace. Relax deeply into the inner place of peace, as if you, the soul, were sitting in a very comfortable sofa in a silent space. surrounded by soft light. Completely content. In the inner place of peace. The soul is a being of peace. From this comfortable inner space, we can visualize the eternal home of the soul, which is outside of the material world, a home that doesn't require the body, a distant dimension of light. Project yourself, the little tiny soul, into that faraway dimension of light, the home, which the soul has known eternally. A very comfortable dimension for a soul, filled with peace and bliss and silence. The home is the place where the family resides. And as souls, we're all one family. There's only one family of souls. Not different generations, even, because we're all eternal. And so this home of the soul might have other little beings of light present, radiant, blissful beings of light. And within the home, there would be a parent. The body needs two parents. One is male and one is female. But the soul doesn't have gender. And so the parent of the soul would be like mother and father. All of the nurturing, supportive, gentle qualities of the mother, and all of the strong, protective, wise qualities of the father. One being with all these qualities, the mother and the father. The one who can provide whatever the soul needs. Eternally. Enjoy the sense of security of being a soul with an eternal parent who is eternally benevolent, eternally loving, eternally powerful, and eternally wise. The soul is well taken care of. And while the soul is in the body, definitely the body needs a good home with good facilities. But the soul has a good home eternally with very good facilities. Facilities that keep the soul peaceful and content and filled with spiritual power and understanding. I am a soul. This body is my home for a while. And I also have a permanent home, very different kind of place. I can use the home of the body, and I can also be still and visit the permanent home of the soul. And now bring your awareness back into the home of the body and this moment in time with the awareness that you, the soul, are the master and the body is the home. Om Shanti.